Hello again. There is a good deal of concern in some quarters about the rise of the so-called incels, which is, of course, an acronym for involuntarily celibate. Acts of violence have, it is claimed, been carried out motivated by a vague ideology associated with incels. This is all said to be tied in with things like Andrew Tate and his brother, who are accused of inciting young men to be hostile to women and to reject feminism too. This is all part of a wider anxiety about young men being radicalized by right-wing commentators that cause them to feel negative not only towards feminism, but also towards the multicultural society and the concept of anti-racism. It is this kind of thing which has meant that many of the referrals to Britain's Prevent programme, terrorism, are now for white working class youths rather than Islamists. It is said that this group represent more of a danger in the future than those who are religiously motivated. I will say at once that I'm not expressing my own views on this matter. I'm merely explaining what is going on. I can, however, speculate as to why this is happening, which is no great mystery. Young white men in Britain have for some years now been made to feel pretty bad about themselves. They are raised almost exclusively by women, their mothers and early years workers in nurseries, primary school teachers and so on. These women almost all subscribe to some version of feminism. Young males are unwittingly indoctrinated into believing that there is something inherently bad about masculinity, that they are all potential killers and rapists. Their natural instincts are suppressed and they are taught that the things they want to do, like shouting and fighting, are not desirable. They are urged to behave more like little girls, sitting quietly and moving about sedately without a lot of noise. This is one strand of their upbringing, to which in the last decade or two has been added another doctrine, that of anti-racism. Because much of the material in this field which teachers and other authorities are encouraged to adhere to comes from the United States, this means that critical race theory underpins much of it. And a key concept, of course, in critical race theory is white privilege. This means that white children from impoverished and deprived backgrounds are taught that they are in some way privileged. And not only that, but they are also guilty. Guilty of inflicting microaggressions on black people, guilty because their ancestors profited from the slave trade, guilty because they are automatically racist simply because of the colour of their skin. It's a bit like original sin white people inherited as part of their condition. The consequence of all this is that young white working class men in Britain grow up being made to feel guilty and ashamed. They are taught, whether intentionally or not, to feel bad about themselves, to feel guilty for the way they are, guilty for being male, and guilty for being white. What do you think will happen if people are made to feel this way? One of the things will be that they will seek out things which make them feel good about themselves so that they don't feel guilty and ashamed anymore. This is where people like Andrew Tate come in and why they are so tremendously popular. They tell young men that they are worth something, that they deserve good things, that they have been misled about all this feminist business, and that being a strong and virile man is actually a good thing. No wonder they like hearing this. I'm not incidentally saying that either feminism or anti-racism are wrong, and neither am I suggesting anything, good or bad, about Andrew Tate. I am simply describing what is happening and why it is happening. If people don't care for the incel phenomenon, or if they disapprove of Andrew Tate, or if they are shocked that a lot of young men are now opposed to the standard narrative of anti-racism, then they should ask themselves a few questions and perhaps see if they can work out what has been going on and what might need to be remedied. It is not a particularly complicated situation and has only taken me a few minutes to describe.